If you're new here, my name is Anthony. Anthony does real estate. And so I work with buyers and sellers every single week. But today I want to put on the heartstrings of my buyers. I know as a buyer, it's a very exciting process, maybe buying your first home. You may have a lot of questions trying to figure out and navigate these waters when it comes to real estate. You just want to make sure that since this is probably one of your biggest purchases of your life, that you're making the right decision and you dotted your I's and crossed your T's completely. So I'm going to help you with that today. So let's talk about it. All right, let's answer the famous question that we hear year after year after year. As a buyer, is now a great time to buy a home looking at the current market conditions? Or should I wait till next year and just see what happens? And so we're going to talk about that today. So the first reason is right now, homes are sitting a lot longer. So you have a lot more inventory to choose from. Back in COVID, you had to make very quick decisions. You had to make decisions as soon as the house hit the market, you had to be on top of that thing immediately. And so now you don't have to do that. You can take your time. There may be three or four houses on the street that may be for sale. We haven't seen that in years. And so you got a lot more options. You got a lot more time to make this decision and not be hasty. There's a lot more inventory, not just pre-owned homes, but also builders. Builders are building homes so fast during COVID, and now a lot of those homes are sitting. They got used to cranking out those homes like that, and now you got your plethora of homes that you can choose from, pre-owned homes and new homes. And so also another thing we're starting to see is price reductions becoming normal. You're starting to see price reductions on homes. You see price reductions every single week, but you're starting to see it more and more frequently. And so that's a great sign for buyers because that means that the prices are coming for one in your direction in a more favorable position for you. More inventory means you don't have to settle for one house and one floor plan. You can analyze four or five different homes and have several different floor plans to choose from to see what's going to be best fit use for your family. And another thing we see too is sellers are offering concessions again. Now, typically you would see this for the most part on brand new homes. New build homes will be offering incentives, especially on spec homes, homes that's already built, and somebody backed out on the contract and nobody bought the home. So they offer incentives to help move that home faster. But now you're seeing that on pre-owned homes, which you don't see that a lot. You see sellers just coming out front offering, hey, we give you 8,000 in closing costs. We'll pay title policy. We'll do this, with the price reduction. And so as a buyer, that puts you in a better position. And so seeing those things combined is a great sign that, hey, this may be a good sign. I can take my time. I can make sure this floor plan is right, this location is right, the school system is right. I can check the taxes in that area. Is it in the mud or the PID? I can look at all that stuff and I have time to make the decision instead of having to be rushed into making it because the home might be gone in 24 hours. You don't see that too much anymore. Now, in some areas, you are seeing homes moving a lot faster. A house may be listed if it's at the right price, and it may be going in a week. But oftentimes, we're starting to see the homes are kind of overpriced. They're starting high, trying to see what they can get, and then kind of trickle down on the price. And over time, as a buyer, well, as a seller, when buyers see that, that loses confidence. Like, what's wrong with the home? Why is the home been sitting so long? And so that gives the buyer leverage to come in. Like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want this house, and this is what I want. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about interest rates. Now, I'm gonna be honest. Interest rates are not where everybody wants it to be. We got so used to COVID and 2.5%. I know when I bought my first home many years ago, it was 3.4%. I was like, man, is that good or what? And now I'm seeing interest rates for the past few years creep up to 7, and I'm like, yeah, I saved a lot of money. so so I totally get it. Interest rates are not exactly where we want them to be. However, you can use the seller's concessions to buy down those interest rates. And so we see builders offering 2.99%, even 3.99%. And that's for the 30-year loan. That's not just for the first year, for the second year. And so there's things like this, like having this information, being armed with this knowledge allows you to go in and make an informed decision on how you can save as much money as possible. Because I tell people when they buy a house, there's a few things they're going to do over the course of the years. Every single year, you're going to look at that tax statement and you're going to protest those taxes. If they're out of line and the math ain't mathing, go protest some taxes every single year. Number two is you're going to refinance the loan and get a lower interest rate. And so if you're paying a 5.5% interest rate now, and then interest rates drop to 3%, can't wait till that to happen again. Then you're going to refinance that loan and capture that lower interest rate pay less monthly, and recoup some of that money that you were spending out. And so you're going to do those two things over the course of you having a home. And so interest rates is something that can be changed. Like I said, you can refinance once you get into the house. However, the sales price, once you locked into that price, you locked into that price. There's nothing else you can do about that. So that's why it's important to make sure you get the price of the home right first. And then, we start looking at the interest rate. Okay, so what can we do about this? How do we make this make sense? So that way those two things matches up. And then the only thing you got to worry about after that is just the taxes every single year. All right, point three. It is a good time to buy if you plan on staying in this home at least 3 to 5 years. If you're looking for a quick turnaround, then I don't know if this is the situation for that. This market has been very unpredictable. We saw COVID with crazy price increases and low interest rates, and then we kind of saw some balancing come in where home prices continue to tick up, but also interest rates continue to tick up, and then now we're seeing home prices come down, interest rates slowly fall down. So we don't know. I can't predict what's going to happen next year this time, but what I can say is, if you're going to stay there for a while, then now is a great time to buy. If you're tired of renting, you tired of rental increases every single year or every 2 years whenever you renew your lease, and you want something of your own, you have leverage now. You have leverage that you haven't had in the past 5 years to go out and buy a home. So if you fit in those categories, then now is a great time to buy. And like I said, if you want long-term equity and not just something quick, then it's the time to do it. It's the time to do it. You got all the power in the world. So go find that house. Let's negotiate. Let's get it under contract, and let's get it where you're very comfortable. I had a veteran purchase a home for me 2 months ago, or through me 2 months ago. We found a home in Princeton she really liked, and we were just having trouble getting in contact with the builder. I guess they was busy or something. And so I found another house. The house was bigger and cheaper, still reputable builder, on a way bigger lot. It was like almost a 3/4 acre lot, corner lot at that, in a cul-de-sac. And I was like, well, she was like, she went out and checked and she was like, man, this is perfect. This is it. And then we negotiated. We didn't pay list price. We negotiated a little bit lower, got her closing costs paid. She didn't have to pay anything down because she's a veteran. And so she walked out scot free. So for the right person, it is a great time to buy. I'm here in North Texas. We have a lot of job growth, a lot of economic growth. There's a lot of things that they're doing here. And so you see houses going up, you see people coming in. And so the economy is good here. Despite what's going on in the world, people are still moving and shaking out here. And so I would love to help you find a home and help you accomplish that task and check it off your box and then save money in the process. That's what it's all about, making sure we make the right decisions and we're intentional about every single thing that we do. So I would love to help you do that. So if you're looking in the North Texas area and you're thinking about buying a home or even selling a home, you would just want to have a conversation about it or get a second opinion, drop a comment below, message me, text me, call me. My information's in my bio. Information's in the description box. And so let's talk about it. Let's talk about how to help you reach your goals. Now, before you go, I have a treat. I got to share a Bible scripture with you, right? In addition to being a realtor, I've also been a youth pastor. And so I'm all out here trying to spread God's love as well. So I just want to share a verse with you today before you go. And so tag somebody who needs to see this as well, because we're going to talk about Romans 8:28, which reads, and it's the NIV version. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. Now, I know, especially now, we're battling home affordability, high taxes, high groceries, high living situations. There's a lot of stress in the world. There's a lot of things going on. And things be happening to us sometimes. I know even for me personally, I've had things happen. Maybe I applied for a job and I didn't get the position. Or maybe I saw an opportunity for something I felt like, oh, this is a smart move. Let me do that. And the door closed in my face. And I thought it was a bad thing. And I was questioning God, like, hey, Lord, this seems like it should align with what you have for me, what's going on. But I realized over time in some of these instances that he was protecting me. He was protecting me for situations I didn't need to be in, or protecting me for something that wasn't my assignment. Because sometimes we'll take on extra assignments as well. We'll take on other people's problems and other things that other people are going through, or thinking we can fix things that we don't need to be trying to fix. We got to give it to God. And so I'm just here to encourage you and remind you that God's love and protection surrounds you. And He's working all things together for your good. He sees the future, not me. We don't see the future. We can see what's in front of us, and we think we know what's best, but He knows all. And so lean on Him and not your own understanding. Give it to Him. Lord, I commit my ways to you. I want to this is what I want to achieve. I give you my supplications and my requests. This is what I want to achieve, Lord. If it's your will, let it be. And I've seen things open. I've seen them come quickly at requests. And I've seen some things that didn't work out. I'm just like, well, maybe it was for the best. There's something better waiting for me. And so that's just to encourage you. Just when things happen and things don't work out the way we thought it would, because a lot of times it doesn't. God works in mysterious ways. Don't get discouraged. Consult with Him, have some quiet time with the Lord, and just tap in with God. Ask Him what's going on, give you clarity, give you discernment on that situation, and He will direct your steps. So a closed door doesn't always mean rejection. Sometimes rejection is God's protection. Y'all have a blessed day. See you on the next one.